Tonight, we are watching some world-class netrunner. This is the finals of the first StimHack League. Greg, nordrunner, and Joe, paranoid31. Greg is coming in from the loser's bracket, so in order to win the league, he has to beat Paranoid twice. Looks like Greg has chosen to play Chaos Theory, and Joe is playing NBN. Just looking at Joe's hand, we don't know whether he's playing Astrobiotics or spending influence on one of the spicier variants. Greg, it looks like, is playing Chaos Theory StimHack Workshop, just based on his hand here. Pretty conventional openings.
Login rejected. Login rejected.
Greg opted to be aggressive for the first two clicks of his first turn. If I'm the runner against NBN and they hedge fund, for example, then I probably want to be less aggressive for fear of Architect, but since he's only on 6 credits, Greg is not that afraid of hitting an Architect. And he didn't, so the point is moot. One of those is a Sansan. I missed what the other one is. Bad campaign. I believe that both players kept their hands. Yes, both players kept their starting hands, so you need to be less aggressive about checking for the naked Astra script trying to sneak through when the corp does not mulligan. Greg is opting for a risk-free play to begin the game. He was able to get away with leaving the Sansan last turn because Joe ended his turn at only 6 credits, but now he is definitely threatening to push that Astra script through. And he does have it in his hand, so... If I'm Greg, I definitely go kill it here, and that's exactly what he chooses to do. In this situation, you're really afraid of the corp just simply having the biotic labor and scoring the Astro script anyway, but in this case, it is not. We have not seen any influence on the corp side so far. I'm going to pull up some archive windows here. We'll see what Joe chooses to do in this spot, but here, yeah, double ice. He's definitely going for the Astra script. Astra behind. There was a Quandary out front and an Eli in the back. So Nordrunner, Nordrunner was even 1 credit short, just based on what he had on the board. He couldn't go Opus and then run installing Atman from the workshop with those 2, because he'd do 1 short to break the quandary. If he had StimHack, of course, he'd get in no trouble. But we're going to see the Astro train leave the station. If I'm Joe here, I definitely don't just score the Beal and end the Astro train. I would, at the very least, use the Jackson Howard to reset my hand, looking for the next Astro script. I'm in a really good spot if I'm Joe. And if I'm Greg, I'm not in such a good spot. Just looking at Greg's hand, I think the best way for him to win the game is to get to find a StimHack, for one. Get that R&D interface down and the lady, and then consider putting the Atman at 0 and using the Atman to break the wraparound, saving lady for when Eli eventually shows up. That's going to be Jackson Howard for sure. Yeah. I think that piece of ice is a pop-up window. That doesn't seem correct. I would definitely get that architect on R&D as soon as possible, because you can definitely get indexing here through just pop-up window wraparound. I like the architect a lot better. Actually, he's got the Jackson down, so not indexing, but Maker's Eye would do it. And Paranoid is pretty rich here, so the architect install just seems straight up better, if you ask me. Nordrunner doesn't show any sign of having Mimic coming. It does look like he's found his StimHack, and 2 Maker's Eyes to boot, so we might see some R&D pressure coming on pretty soon. I definitely like the choice of Maker's Eye over indexing. I think indexing is pretty bad in the metagame now with Blue Sun as one of the top tier strategies. Blue Sun just has so many ways to counter indexing, whether it's just making the runner slog through Hive twice, or using Project Atlas counters to reshuffle on demand, executive boot camp, and so on. Maker's Eye, definitely better positioned. So Joe opts to refill his hand and install another thing. I didn't catch what either of these assets were, but my bet is just economy assets. Perhaps the San. It's interesting that Greg has chosen to include both Professional Contacts and Magnum Opus in his deck. That's definitely better for sort of long game matchups, where with Magnum Opus, every single click you spend running or drawing or not clicking Magnum Opus is setting your economy further back. So Professional Contacts helps mitigate that.
Login rejected.
The prices that the price he's paying is that he's got a pretty slow start against NBN, and he was too far behind to snag that Astro script. So yeah, Paranoid, definitely a mistake raising the toll booth during the stim hack run, letting him get a nice juicy fem install. And yeah, he's commenting on that in the chat that it's wrong to do. Because at the very least, stim hack's going to get to install fem if Greg wants. But he's not going to know which piece of ice is the best one to target. And now legworks in the future are going to be real cheap. Nordrunner used a lady token instead of using Atman to break the wraparound, which I think is... Oh no, he ended the turn at 4 credits, so he was playing around NAPD by... he was hoping to steal an NAPD contract by spending that lady token. And Joe is pretty flooded here. Instead of clicking up those marked accounts, I might consider mulliganing with Jackson Howard right now, because a legwork could well be pretty soon. Yeah, and now Joe's punished for not having an architect there instead. Greg gets in for cheap. Plus side for Joe, at least there wasn't an Astro script among those. He definitely wants the Astros to be easy to find to continue the train, because he's going to want to reset his hand with this Jackson eventually. Now that he's got his marked accounts online, I think this is definitely the turn to do it. And, oh no, it looks like he opts to get one of those agendas into the score area where it's safe. But he's going to have to find a Sansan or Biotic Labor pretty soon. It looks like, given that we've seen 2 Architects and the Eli on the remote, I bet he's playing only 2 Biotic Labors, so it might be difficult for him to get the train back online. And here are the Architects, 1 on each central. Leaving the toll booth there means he's playing more for the long game and hoping to potentially survive through multiple legworks instead of just deleting the toll booth and having an unknown ice there for unknown survival. Leaving the toll booth, even just for the 1 credit tax. Well, at least with Joe's current hand, is a play that I agree with. And this Architect is going to do some serious work since Greg is running Fem instead of Mimic. I really might have considered putting both architect on R&D, to be honest, and just hoping to keep H relatively clean. If we're playing a daily business show variant of NBN, that's definitely a playstyle that Daily Business Show supports, but we haven't seen that card out of Joe's deck yet. So we don't know if it's there. And most Daily Business Show decks tend to play 1 or 0 marked accounts, so I'm betting we won't see it this game. Ah, Greg actually has both Fem and Mimic. Still doesn't ditch anything. He's found a breaking news, so as soon as, if he can get through this turn without getting legworked, then he's just one biotic labor or San away from victory. But with this Mimic, R&D is back down to a 4 credit tax. And against Magnum Opus, that's just click, click, run. Pay for, the click, click pays to get in. So he can do that every turn, checking for top 2. Interesting. Oh, yes. Greg had to lose the Fem because he was at max memory. There's the biotic. I like the installed draw here. The card on top of R&D is fresh. So Joe has put it to match point. He's definitely going to shuffle some economy back. Potentially, no, not San City Grid. He doesn't need a San right now. But he's definitely going to shuffle back, say, 3 hedge funds or something like that when Greg comes in again. Greg is using StimHack just for the boost, hoping to find an NAPD contract and steal it with StimHack creds. The game at this point is basically just a coin toss. Whether Paranoid can find a fast track before Nordrunner can find that last agenda. And Nordrunner mistakenly gave a GG there. It's definitely in Chaos Theory's favor at this point. Oh, he gave a GG because he expected Joe to win. But Joe ditched one of his ditched that Project Beal earlier, so he's going to have a tough time. Yeah, definitely placing the 4th ice, potentially even the 5th ice. Yeah, 5th ice we're going to see. And this is going to put Nordrunner off of stealing an NAPD contract this turn, but probably nothing else. You definitely have to keep running. I think Joe here is hoping that, given that he's showed one toll booth,
Login
that
rejected.
Greg is going to fear that there's a toll booth on R&D already, but hitting a toll booth on R&D would definitely set Greg a long way back and probably win the game on the spot. So, but he doesn't have the extra toll booth. No luck for Greg this turn, but the game is definitely still on. Both players are rich, so this Eli might be decent. I might just Eli and money up here. I don't want to draw any extra cards if I don't plan to dig to the last Beal this very turn. Install draw. I definitely don't agree with the install draw. You have to install in the remote with ice to not draw. Leave a fresh card, or leave fewer fresh cards on top. There's the 6th ice. It was Eli. Best possible draw for Joe is the 2nd biotic labor at this point. Chooses to draw with professional contacts instead of magnum opusing. That doesn't seem right to me. I don't think any more cards are going to help you win the game here. Fast track is pretty good. Second only to the Beal off the top. Well, third to the Beal off the top and the 2nd biotic. With since Greg has scrapped his fem and doesn't appear to have any way to get it back, and is pretty poor, I think fast tracking for the Beal is pretty safe here. Yeah, and he's setting up a 4th ice on HQ. I think it was just a wraparound. But here's the fast track. Last turn. This is it. What resources does Greg have at his disposal? He didn't see the fast track. Greg didn't, because of the install draw 2 turns ago. So I was going to say that the draw with professional contacts is because he knew he needed to find a legwork, but I don't think that getting back into HQ is going to win it here. I think he needs to draw for stim hack. Or, yeah, just money up and run R&D again. But you can't get into HQ this turn. Greg has 11 credits. This is definitely enough for an access. Greg actually real smart move here, letting the not R&D installs fire on Architect, because he knows it's not going to matter. He knows that Joe has the biotic labor, so he's leaving himself enough cash to score an APD contract. Coin toss. And that's not it. Paranoid31 is your first SimHack League champion. Very close game. All of the recent games in the top of the eliminations bracket have been extremely close, down to coin tosses and basically down to coin tosses on the last couple of turns. I definitely didn't see any bad plays on either side here in this game. Just some minor tactical decisions that I potentially disagreed with, but yeah. Tough break for Nordrunner after climbing up through the through three rounds of the losers bracket, only to get defeated in the first one, in the first of the two finals matches. But that's NBN Astrobiotics for you. Thanks for watching, and